This might just look kind of like an empty concrete slab, but this relatively abandoned lot here used to be an active runway. During the Vietnam War, this was known as Lima Site 6, one of the secret airstrips used by Air America, the CIA's airline operating in Laos. Planes landed here almost daily and supplied operations throughout the region. But today, there's not very much left from that. Really just grass growing off to the sides and slowly deteriorating concrete. The Laos city that I'm in right now is called Vang Vieng. Life here started back in the 1300s as a simple stop between the ancient capital of Luang Prabang and today's capital of Vientiane. The town's original name was Muang Song, named for the nearby river, and then in the late 1800s during French colonial rule, it was renamed Vang Vieng. After that, it was basically occupied as a military base. Later on, it served a stint as being known as one of Southeast Asia's more low-key and lively party spots, but now it seems to be trying to be something else entirely. About 25,000 people live in this town, and tourism is inarguably at the heart of the economy. And right next to the CIA landing strip, a little resort. On the other side, the runway bar. So today, on our first day in the country of Laos, we're starting everything off by standing on a runway most people don't even realize they're standing on. Ni hao! Later today, I'm actually going to get in on some of the local action, which I'm not entirely convinced is a great idea, but first we've got to get there. So beyond this airstrip, what's Vang Vieng actually like now? Today, I'm going to do my very best to find out. Where I'm headed today turns out to be a pretty good clue about what Vang Vieng is becoming. But first, the walk there is the perfect chance to get a feel for the place itself. It's kind of like a slow-paced bustle. You can even see like the trash guys are doing their job, not too fast, but tons of food for sale. This is what a Lao tuk-tuk looks like. That's one of the main ways that you can get around the area. That and scooters like that one. Plenty of businesses catering towards experience. You can see that's written in Chinese, that's in Korean. And nearly every time you have a Lao flag, right next to that Lao flag is a hammer and sickle flag. This is one of the world's 5 remaining communist countries. But we're now walking down to a southern part of the town where there is a cave. But at the center of communities all throughout Laos, you'll find temples. This one towards the edge of town is one of 5 in Vang Vieng. With the city and mountains in the backdrop, this temple is quite the sight to see. It looks like they've got a little bit of construction or renovation or something going on, but just like in Hong Kong, the support beams are actually made out of bamboo. When we stopped by, it was incredibly quiet, possibly because everyone was busy eating lunch. You can see, at least the ritual I'm familiar with involved in Buddhism is lighting of the incense and then leaving gifts next to a statue or icon or whatever you want to call it, like this one, or even this massive one that overlooks everything. So the walk out of town continued, but it felt even more laid back than before. It was lunchtime for nearly everyone around town. And you know, it's getting to be lunchtime for us too. I just happened to notice this place walking around, so let's give it a try. It looks like this place is doing a few different local noodle soup type dishes. This is the menu you get to choose from. Maybe 1 beef, 1 pork?
And this is pork?
No. 1 chicken, 1 beef, please. Thank you. It's 40,000 kip per dish. That's about $2, but want something to drink to go with it. Let's do a coconut juice. And here we've got 1 chicken and 1 beef soup. Aha. Thank you. And it's kind of familiar to me just because I know Vietnamese food pretty well. But you get some green stuff to put in your soup. There's also a ton of toppings right there. But I want to give it a try without anything extra added first. It's definitely like a vermicelli rice noodle type thing. Kind of like pho bo. Let's see. It's herby. And the broth tastes kind of like a mix of, I don't know, maybe chicken, beef, and pork to make the broth. Some thin slices of beef in here though, that looks good. Tasty. Plus there seem to be tons of tomatoes in the cuisine over in Laos. This is a peanut sauce. There, and get some mint leaves in there, some lettuce. And oh, I was mistaken. Those weren't mint leaves, those were basil leaves. These are mint leaves. These are some green beans too. And this here has got to be the local Lao pepper. No clue what it's called, but it's a chili. It's got a kick. And now with all these toppings added into the soup, it's even more flavorful. It's peanutty, now it's a little bit spicy. And there's the whole green, fresh taste thing going on. So yeah, just showing up to a very random local restaurant that just happened to look good walking by. Lao food's pretty tasty at first glance. Very similar to neighboring countries in a lot of ways, but it's also got a bit of a unique flavor going on, especially with that peanut sauce. This place is just a family-run place. I guess that's the family on the wall over there and some pictures. And it reminded me and my wife of just how dusty Vang Vieng seems to be. Like you can see the dust up on the plastic overhang stuff or on that Pepsi sign. It's kind of weird because you're just right by a river, but I guess from the dirt roads and whatever other stuff, a lot of dust is in the air. So I think 100,000 will do it. Yeah. One coconut. The soup is 50. A little over $2 instead of just under $2. So that's 115,000 kip in total. Thank you. So yeah, you would think Southeast Asia, the food's gonna be super cheap, and it is, or at least can be super cheap if you avoid, I guess, some of the kind of Western places in the very center of town here. But the country of Laos only can produce so much food itself, so a lot of the ingredients are imported, and as a result, you might not find those, I don't know, like 75-cent, $1 noodle soups like you could still probably find over in a Vietnamese city like Hanoi. And what is this? We are now on the World Happy Street, written in Korean and Chinese. That massive building that looks like it could be a temple is actually a pub, Top One pub. So perhaps the whole party place thing isn't completely dead, but that does seem a kind of strange place to have a pub. And quick enough, we found ourselves on a Lao country road, already out of the city, walking over to a cave. Every time a car drives by, it gets so dusty here. And here we're making it up to the Nam Song River. You've got to cross this bridge to get to the cave that we're going to. And none of this kind of stuff is for free here. But I think the entrance fee is only about 20,000 kip. Oh, 22,000. The price has gone up. Hello. 22,000 now, right? Do you take Loca? Do you use Loca? No. You only pay cash for everything. Yeah. You know what loca means in Spanish? No. It means crazy. This is the first time I've paid with loca, so thank you for being patient. Oh, it wants to charge me more. I'll give you cash. Okay. You have change? Yes. Okay, thanks. Do you have many visitors today? No, not too many. Maybe 10. Oh, wow, okay. Where do they mostly come from? From Vietnam. Cop Thai. Thank you. Okay. That's it? Okay. Hello. So here, this bridge that I'm on just takes you over the Nam Song, the river right here. And look at those formations. Crazy. There used to be a more good-looking, I guess, red or orange hanging bridge here, but it seems they've torn it down and then just built that. That bridge really just looks like a temporary one. And how strange. Not on the Mekong River, but it says Mekong, Tham, Chang, Vang Vieng. Hello. English okay?
Yeah.
What is Mekong, Tham? Why does it say Mekong when it's not on the Mekong River?
Just the name, and then Tham Chang is like the cave up there.
Tham Chang is the cave, but yeah. Mekong is for the river, right?
Yeah, river right here.
Yeah, different river though.
Yeah, different river. I don't know why they put Mekong.
Okay.
Mekong
Okay.
river was on the
Luang Prabang or
Prabang or Vientiane.
Vientiane. Okay. Cool. Thank you, brother. Appreciate
no
it.
problem, man.
See you.
Have fun.
Thanks, I appreciate it. But how interesting. Even the local guy was like, no clue why they're calling it Mekong here. That was already more than 10 tourists walking by just now. There's like a whole food market before you get to the cave here. They're selling boiled peanuts. Oh my. And there's some river fish on the grill, chicken, and they're selling fish food that you can take over here to feed the fish with. You can even get your feet cleaned by having little fish eat the dead skin off of them. 30,000 kip. And there's actually a whole swimming area over here. I didn't even know this coming here, not at all. There's a ton of different places that they call blue lagoons right around Vang Vieng. They're kind of like what you might know as a cenote if you've been to the Yucatan Peninsula, the area around Cancun in Mexico. Freshwater, blue, and good for swimming. These are basically the same thing. And there's quite a lot of different fish in here and stuff, and people are kayaking. There's a photo shoot going on. Ah, yeah, and I'm really wondering if this guy's gonna jump into the water from way up there. He definitely did it. What a cool little area. Really, I just was not expecting for this to be here. I was only expecting to go in the cave that we're about to go into. So maybe 75 stairs to go? Let's see. Sabadi. And climbing up here, the mountainous rock layers, I guess to call them. I don't know what to call them. They just look very unreal. It's very cool. There's vines growing throughout. And now that I'm almost up, a crazy, crazy view. Mongolia? Yeah. Ulaanbaatar?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. You're escaping the freezing cold.
Yeah.
Everybody's from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia?
Yeah. I'm from Vietnam.
From which one?
Vietnam.
From Vietnam?
Yeah.
Which city?
Hanoi.
So many people. He claims he's from Hanoi.
He's not from Hanoi.
You're all from Mongolia?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
He has a girlfriend in Hanoi. He thinks he has a girlfriend in Hanoi.
All right, and a group of all Mongolians, not all willing to admit they're from Mongolia, but that's a country I've got to go to. Do you do tours in Ulaanbaatar?
I actually live in Vietnam.
Please do not defecate or urinate in the cave. If you violate this, you will be fined 1 million kip. That's kind of crazy. That's actually less than $100 US, but the cave. A little Buddha shrine for donations, and then let's see what this looks like. Oh, it's a pretty big cave up here in the mountains, and it goes quite some ways. You can take a nice walk in here. It's not as cool as I thought it'd be, though. How are you? Everything good in the cave?
Bloody beautiful.
Cool. It's bloody beautiful. I think I see what they're talking about, though. Right over here, you get a nice view out into the countryside. And besides the view at the end of the tunnel, there is a shrine. You can come and leave behind a gift for the Buddha here, and there's such a nice smell from that incense. Each Asian country has a little bit of a different incense smell, I find. In Laos, it's kind of like a sandalwoody smell. Caves like this are actually one of the reasons people started coming to Vang Vieng in the first place. Long before its party reputation, this part of Laos was known for having hundreds of caves hidden in the mountains. Going further back in the 1800s, the Chang cave was used as a bunker during Chinese invasion. And this cave is really significantly larger than I expected it to be. You've got perhaps a kilometer and a half worth of walking paths. The further in you go, the thicker the air starts to get, and it's become really intensely humid. Danger. Can't go over there. After making my way through the cave and getting back down the mountain, it felt like the perfect time to try something Laos is famous for. How about a nice Lao coffee? Hi, what kind of coffee do you make? You use condensed milk?
Milk coffee.
Ah,
Milk,
like Lao coffee. Is sweet or? Okay, one Lao coffee and one
Americano.
Lao coffee, ice or hot?
What do you recommend?
Ice or hot?
What do you recommend? What's normal?
Here, ice.
Okay, ice. Let's see. First time trying Lao coffee. 40 each, right?
41 cup.
Thank you. It's a massive iced coffee. And they give it to you in this very unique contraption. My first time trying the traditional, or at least locally popular Lao coffee. Is it like a Vietnamese coffee? Yes. But it tastes a little bit different too, maybe? It's very sweet. The fun continues. I drink my coffee and other people jump into the water. But in addition to there being caves up in the mountain, there's also caves down in the water. But before I go floating through this cave, there's one practical thing we've got to sort out. Staying covered while traveling. That's why for this video, I partnered with SafetyWing. When you're bouncing between different countries or traveling long term, a lot of traditional insurance plans just aren't built for that lifestyle. Some require you to start and end your trip in the same country, and many are just for shorter vacations. That's why SafetyWing offers Nomad Insurance Essential. It's a travel medical insurance designed for people who move between countries or travel long term. For example, last week I was in China, this week I'm in Laos, and next week I'll be heading to Cambodia. When you're traveling like that, it's nice to know you're covered in case something unexpected happens. One thing that stands out to me is how flexible it is. You can start or stop coverage even while already outside your home country. It also works across multiple countries, so even if your plans change, since this is a global travel medical insurance, your coverage continues. That kind of flexibility can be really useful for people like me whose travel plans change often. They also offer optional add-ons for things like electronics theft or certain adventure sports depending on how you travel. If you want to check details or see pricing for your trip, scan the QR code here or click the link in the description. And if you do, it helps support the channel at no extra cost to you, which I really appreciate. Alright, now that we've gone over that, let's see what tubing in an underground cave in Vang Vieng is actually like. Up until now, Vang Vieng had felt like the kind of place you mostly observe, walking around, trying local food, taking in the scenery. But this is where it started to feel a little more hands-on. The water is not all that warm, and as you can see behind me, the rules. Basically, whoever owns this land is not at fault if you have any accidents in the cave. Wish me luck. These are actually free to borrow. It makes it so much easier than swimming in with a camera in your left hand. If you had asked me if I thought I'd be swimming around in this semi-underwater cave today in Laos, just earlier today, my answer would have probably been no. And it really just keeps going and going and going. What an echo, echo, echo. Okay, it looks as though the end of the lit up part is just up in there. So, I'm gonna make a turn around here and let the current take me back where I came from. Activities like tubing have long been a part of the Vang Vieng experience. But about a decade ago, the mix of river activities and heavy partying forced the government to step in and introduce new regulations. In 2011 alone, 27 tourists died here from drowning, injuries, and alcohol or drug-related incidents. The changes have helped the town move on from some of that reputation, though even recently, deadly incidents involving tainted alcohol have brought attention to the town's past. But navigating an underwater cave with nothing but a rope and a tube is a completely different experience. So I guess don't skip the semi-underwater cave part. Definitely worth it. And one last thing I nearly forgot to point out here is that right now I'm actually walking under an overwater temple. Tourists can relax here, but don't make loud noises. That's a really big spider there. Just like the other Buddhist temples or shrines we've been to today, you can see there's some bananas and drinks left as a gift, and they light incense here. And people leave small donations in the form of money too. Plus it looks like they're building new places to jump off of the land into the water. Coming in here might just be the best $1 I ever spent. And these boats are like in full ni hao, full-fledged operation right now. Because, well, the thing about it is that about 4 years ago, almost, I guess 5 years ago now, they started the fast train connection between China and a few different places in Laos. Long story short, it's very easy to reach Laos from China now, so there's a huge influx of Chinese tourists here. But as we walked through the edges of town, things felt almost as slow as they did during lunchtime, at least for a while. Now for a little bit more of what I had in mind of being a classic Lao bridge back over the Nam Song. And I'm a little surprised about the river. I see someone's like picking up maybe some kind of food or just grabbing rocks from it. I'm not really sure what. But though it does seem to have a really strong current, in many places it's not that deep at all. And I'm not even sure if a camera is capable of showing you just how beautiful this place is with all of the mountains surrounding it, especially as the sun is about to set like it is right now. And well, you wouldn't expect this on a river. I mean, probably not. There's a sand beach right here. I see you. But right next to that is what lured me to this area initially, the boats. And it seems like this time of day is a really nice one to be exploring because all the hot air balloons start popping up in the sky, and there are really a ton of those balloons flying right now. And I've got to say, I've never been in a hot air balloon. I did try to go in one once in Cappadocia and miserably failed, but it's just not one of my priorities for this trip. And for reference, the only price I saw listed anywhere was 1.8 million kips, so something like 150 US dollars to take a ride in one. Compared to the prices I've seen for a hot air balloon ride in other places in the world where it's popular, that's actually relatively cheap. Anyway, if you're interested in long boats or short boats like that one, these two banks of the river right here seem to be like the stations for that. And just the amount of boats I've seen over here is kind of insane, at least for the past few hours. I didn't see them like this in the middle of the day though. I mean, you can see it's just literally busloads, or better said maybe train loads of tour groups. They all go up and down the Nam Song. So it's probably safe to say the river here isn't just for adventure anymore. It's also become the center of a huge tourism boom. But like in a lot of places that grow quickly, not every project ends up being completed. Looking back across the river, you can actually see a number of abandoned construction projects. As Vang Vieng experienced spurts of rapid growth followed by periods of stagnation, many planned buildings were simply abandoned, in some cases with construction companies going silent and leaving half-built structures behind. Crossing back over the bridge takes you by some of those buildings. So just exactly what is Vang Vieng like at night? Well, there's lots of street food cooking. Things are happening at their own not too fast pace. And I just happened across this night market. But this is like the quietest, calmest night market I think I've ever been to. Over on this end, a little bit more in terms of food. Or actually it looks like a kind of middle area with food here. And back into clothing and other stuff. Laos. It's a very, very calm night market, and I just don't need any stuff. What I need is something to eat and a place to sit to eat it. And this street I'm walking down is basically the main street of Vang Vieng, at least in terms of businesses, especially restaurants. And believe it or not, just over behind these buildings here is the CIA runway where I started this video off today. And there are actually so many Chinese people that visit here that I guess some of them liked it enough to move here. And you can get some Chongqing noodles. Looks like they've got a pretty simple menu here. I'm really thinking beef noodles, number one, is what I'm gonna get though. Ooh, and maybe some dumplings. Ooh la la, some rice noodles with pea sauce. And some beef noodles. But for me, the beef noodles are just the perfect fix, I think. Let's try the beef. It looks slow cooked. So you can definitely get some legit Chinese food in Laos too. And it's kind of cool, you can pay with WeChat here, Weixin Pay. But when it comes to food, you've really got tons of different choices just on this main strip, and then many more beyond. For only having 25,000 residents, there are a lot of restaurants in this town. And over here, this is my street. I've got to say, it's a bit of a smelly street that I ended up staying on here. We didn't know we were getting into. But we do have the temple right over there, and well, there's also some restaurants on the street. We've got our own beauty salon too, and it's got like sort of this local vibe. Places to buy your fruits and vegetables, drink your beer, and most importantly, you can get German food. Just kidding, I've never been there actually, but this is the place I'm staying at. The next morning, I woke up to construction. So it's a pretty well-priced little hotel here. They've even got some kind of, well, it's not a Sunday market, it's not a Saturday market. Today's a Wednesday, it's a Wednesday market. Your stay comes with breakfast too. Lots of fresh fruit, mango juice, instant noodles, and a view. And it's really kind of crazy. Yesterday there was a house there. They're tearing it down really fast. Who knows what's going to be there tomorrow. But this is definitely just a meager local place. And it costs about, I guess, 25 US dollars or so a night to stay here. So not going to break the bank in Laos. This was going to be our last day in Vang Vieng, and there was one thing left that Rasa and I had been eager to try. And when it comes to food in Vang Vieng, you really can't talk about food here without talking about all of these stands, most of which are called Big Mama and then something. Big Mama 1, Big Mama 2. Here's Big Mama Nok. They do stuff like roti, sandwiches, kind of like a Vietnamese banh mi, I think, if you're familiar, and fruit shakes of all different kinds. Ah, looks like Big Mama Nok's also doing burgers. Everything on the menu is between about $1 and $3 US. Margarine.
Banana, coconut.
Egg, banana, coconut. It smells really good. Big Mama Nok knows how to do it. And it's all made fresh to order. You can just see all the ingredients are just here. We just ordered 2 sandwiches and a roti. I assume roti is kind of like the local version of saying the word roti because it's a similar thing. Not the same, but similar. Ooh, coconut sauce is going on. Some kind of special powdered sugar, I guess. Ooh, and it's ready to go. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you. And now the chicken for the sandwiches is cooking. All done in this wok-like contraption. Beautiful. And now you can see there's some bacon cooking in there, and the chicken just goes in the sandwich. And the sandwich stays there, gets nice and humid while everything else is cooking. This really seems to be street food at its finest. Look at those onions. I don't know if I'm insulting it, but it's kind of like the Philly cheesesteak of Laos. And then some cheese on top. Beautiful sandwich. And then even after that, some avocado. They've got these huge Florida-like avocados here. I don't know, we call them Florida avocados back in the States. Big avocados. And some mayo on top. And I got some chili sauce on mine. Damn, that's a fine sandwich. I have the impression this is a little bit more of a popular food at night, but it's not the greatest food when you want to definitely sit somewhere that's not inside of your hotel. It's 1:30.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye. And all that food, just 130,000 kip, which translates over to about $6 US. Well, there's seats at our hotel, so we can just eat it there. That's a big, fresh, tasty looking sandwich, especially for the price. Let's give it a try. Wow, the bread is crunchy, even crispy. And I know Big Mama Nok said the chicken was being cooked in margarine, but I think it was being cooked in some kind of concoction that includes coconut oil, because the chicken tastes like coconut. The whole thing is delicious and super fresh tasting. Plus, I'm pretty happy with my decision to just get sweet chili sauce. That really rounds out the flavor. And the local banana coconut roti. Looks pretty eggy and oily. And it's really fried to a brown or at least golden crisp. It's a little bit like if you took like a French crepe and then just fried it, you know, immersed it fully in oil instead of just putting it on top of the hot stove thing. Eggy, coconutty, banana-y, mild. Pretty good. But it looks like I'm in for another beautiful day of weather. But during my first day over here exploring Vang Vieng, it was pretty cool to walk around here and witness a place experiencing change while keeping the local culture absolutely alive. To say the least, it has been kind of strange to stay just about a block and a half from where a former secret CIA landing strip was. But I guess that's Laos for you. That's just Vang Vieng. For a place once known mostly for partying and backpackers drifting down the river, Vang Vieng now feels like a town slowly drifting towards something new. Next up though, we're heading north to Luang Prabang, which might just be one of the most beautiful cities anywhere in Southeast Asia. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.